Okay, we're going to take a look at Gettysburg, the 1977 edition by Avalon Hill. Only this time we're going to look at the advanced version. I've already done a video on the intermediate version of the game, which I quite liked. Now, Avalon Hill in 1977, I thought, made a very bad mistake by trying to pack 3 versions of the game into one box. And I'm going to try to show you why. Now, first of all, the box is very thin to put 3 games in it. And I've just done a fine sort, or the best sort I can, of the advanced version, and you'll kind of see what I mean. Now you're forced to use the bag system pretty well. There's just so many counters, you can't use trays. If anyone can find trays this thin, good luck, because you only have maybe ½ inch to put trays in. There's just no room. And if you want any kind of fine sorting, you'll just have to go to bags. So that's what I did. And even with bags, you can barely get the cover down. This box is stuffed to capacity. So what I did was sort of the advanced counters, set aside the basic and intermediate, put all these line counters in a bag, put the number counters in a bag, and just fine sorted it as well as I can. Plus you've got the rules, the charts, that kind of thing. This box is just full. Now, I'm not going to attempt a replay of the advanced game. That would just be counterproductive. There's so much to the advanced game, it just defies belief. It's virtually a terrible Swift Sword game packed into a small map. But let me show you some of the things about the advanced game that I like. And I will say that it is a very good simulation of the Battle of Gettysburg. It's a simulation, it's not a game. This is not a practical game to play. But let me show you some things and you'll see why. Well, first of all, the board. Of course, it shares using the same board as the intermediate game. And I like the intermediate game on this board a lot. This is the John Batchelder map. It's a topographical map of Gettysburg, so it's fairly accurate. Now, advanced Gettysburg. You're going to have a lot of counters on this board. A lot. And let's show you the cards first. You've got the advanced Confederate order of appearance, which is very fine. Each turn is about, 20 minutes? Yeah, you got 20-minute turns on this one. And so you have a very detailed order of appearance for the Confederates. The flip side is for the intermediate game. And of course you have the same for the Union, the advanced Union order of appearance, with units coming in all through the day at the historical times. It's got one of the best order of battles and order of appearance charts that I've seen in many a game. You've got your advanced game tables for movement and activity. The flip side, though, is artillery, fire combat, and fire assault tables. Lots of tables in this game, lots of looking up. More advanced game tables here, disorganization charts, entry penalties, current experience chart, artillery strength, breakdown chart. The flip side of this one, though, is the introductory game, which we don't use at all. Now the booklet, rules booklet, unfortunately, is one booklet where you had your throwaway introductory Gettysburg game. You've got the intermediate game in here also. Okay, and then you've got to go back here to the advanced game. Okay. What I did was Xerox the advanced rules and made them separate so I could yellow in and underline and that kind of thing. So, how are the rules? Well, the rules are not bad actually to read. It's just that there's so much in this game, it's unbelievable. Now you're going to use the brigade counters from the intermediate game, but they will not function the same way in the advanced game at all. And like I said, you'll need a fine sort here. I sorted them by corps, and even then, that's not going to be fine enough. Why? It's because in the advanced game, you're not dealing with artillery battalions, you're dealing with artillery batteries. Every single battery that is in the Battle of Gettysburg is in this game. Now, I'm going from memory here. I believe the Union had 52 brigades at Gettysburg, and the Confederates had, I think, 37. So once you start getting the batteries down, count all the batteries, you've got one heck of a lot of counters. A lot of counters. The advanced game counters are not as nice as even the intermediate ones. Although they use the same brigade counters, the leaders are very dull looking with just 4 numbers. There's just nothing really pretty about them at all. So what I'm going to do is just show you some of the differences between the advanced game and the intermediate game, and try to show you why or how this game is so unwieldy. Now, I've played out the first day till about, I think, 4 p.m. in the afternoon, historically. You know, he's coming in, fighting Devon and Gamble, First Corps coming up, all that stuff. I can't imagine playing the second day scenario of this game with 52 brigades and 37 brigades on, plus all the artillery. It must be horrendous. And there are tons of markers on the board all at the same time. You also have to record casualties on casualty charts, which they give you. You'll have to Xerox these though. So you're recording losses of every brigade. You're recording ammunition expended by batteries. There's a lot of record keeping in this game. Of course, that's what you want for the advanced version of Gettysburg if you really want the full simulation. And like I said, in my opinion, it is a simulation, but it's just not much of a game. There's just so much here, I think it's impractical. The main thing is the board needs to be twice the size that it is. Avalon Hill really made a mistake by trying to put 3 games into one box. But without further ado, let me show you what's involved with the advanced game. Okay, the best way to show you really how unwieldy this game is to show you what's involved in movement. Now, as every Gettysburg aficionado knows, Devon and Gamble's brigades, cavalry, were guarding the roads north out of Gettysburg and west. And of course, Heath's division arrived and marched down the Cashtown or Chambersburg Pike. So this is the way the game starts. Devon and Gamble begin in what they call this rest formation. You have the Devon counter for the brigade, and you've got General Buford, Tidball's batteries, and Gamble, and they are at rest position. I couldn't even find Battery H, by the way, in the order of battle. I'm not sure where that is. And that's the other thing about sortation. Like I said, I've gone to bags, and it's just a nightmare. To find individual batteries, for example, you've got to find here it says Battery H, but it doesn't tell you what organization it belongs to. So I couldn't find Battery H. Maybe Tidball Calif's battery is Battery H. I don't know. It doesn't say on the Union order of appearance. That's a warning sign. So before you play the game, you're going to have these line markers readily available. You'll have to have these number markers available, and you'll have to be able to get at the, of course, reinforcement units to put them on. I'm not going to go through a lot of turns here. I'm just going to show you what's involved in moving brigades. Now the game starts at 7 o'clock, and I'll show you what's involved with, let's say, moving Devon and Gamble. Okay, checking the sequence of play, the Confederate actually begins their move first. So I'll show you what's involved in moving the Confederate brigades onto the board. But keep in mind that each of these brigade counters, Pettigrew, Brockenborough, Archer, and Davis, these counters do not represent the brigades themselves. They represent only the command headquarters. So this is what's involved. Okay, the first thing you do is check who's in command. Well, Heath is coming on, so he's the division commander and he will be in command. And since he's called the primary commander, we'll choose him, and Archer's activity level will be allowed to be at the highest level, which in this case, infantry is 6. So he's got an activity allowance of 6. And when you check infantry moving along a road, it's 1 per hex. So then you have to check the size of Archer's brigade. He's a size 12. Now each hexagon represents 8 strength points. Therefore, you're going to need to get 2 battle markers, column markers, and you'll need a 4 counter. Why? I'll show you why. Okay, So you can move 6. Now you'll have the brigade leader as the lead unit. So remember, each counter represents 8 strength points. So he'll move 6 up this pike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll put the column marker there. You'll put Heath's brigade on top. I'll face it so we can see him. And you'll put the second unit of him at the back, but you'll have to put a 4 counter under it. Why? Because remember, 8 strength in the brigade commander's hex, and there's 4 left over, so 4 are trailing. So that's Archer on the board. Let's say you want to move Brockenborough. Actually, we'll go historically. We'll pick Davis. Davis's brigade comes on the board. You check his size. He's a 24. Well, 24 divided by 8 is 3. So you're going to need 3 of the infantry column markers. You put them behind. They specifically say that you're supposed to use a different color when you're following another brigade. So we'll choose a different color of marker there. That represents 8 strength points. This represents 8 strength points. And that represents 8 strength points. And then we put Davis on the lead square. And there you've moved 2 brigades onto the board. So that's quite a lot of steps just to move 2 brigades. Now, to say nothing of the artillery, these are individual batteries, and the stacking is a little bit different. I'll just check those. Now, to tell you the truth, I can't really find in the rules whether a limbered artillery battery can be in the same square as a infantry in column. I really can't find it. The hint here says movement off-road not allowed. Well, it's not for unlimbered artillery. Limbered is 1.5. Along road it's 1. But I really can't find in the stacking whether it's allowed. Since it's only a battery, I'm going to assume perhaps it is allowed. So we'll put a battery of Pegram with each unit on the board. And to tell you the truth, like I said, I'm not 100% sure whether that's allowed. But for the demonstration, we'll allow it. So that was a typical Union turn, Confederate turn, moving just 2 brigades onto the board. Now we come to the Union, where we've got a horse of a different color, totally. No pun intended with the horses. Okay, Buford will be the primary commander since he's the division commander. But these units are at rest. Again, like the other procedure, we have to check how big Gamble is. Well, he's a 16. And what position, what formation will he go into? Well, if he goes into column formation, by the time he gets going, he's probably just going to collide with Heath's column here. I think I've practiced this move before. And you kind of end up in this no man's land, both in column. I don't know if I want to do that. So I think I'll have Gamble's division go right into line. And how do we do that? I'll show you. Okay, remember that since Buford is the primary commander, Devon and Gamble both have the maximum allowable points, which is 6. Now, interesting that they don't have anything about cavalry in rest. They don't have any units that are in rest. So I suppose that the cost is the formation you want to go into. So we want to go into cavalry in battle line, which will cost 6, which is all of our movement points. And here's where, again, the game gets a little sketchy. It's a 16, so I'm supposed to use 2 line markers, but it costs me 6 just to change formation. So I really can't move. I put a marker there, show Gamble rather, and then I'm supposed to put a line marker to show that he is now in line with the little flag there. And technically, well, the other 8 is in that square too, because they just have enough movement points to move. Now, for the sake of the video, I don't know if this is the optimum move or not, but Devon will change into column. Now, it says the maximum activity level is 8. So he's got an activity level of 8, but I'm not sure how much it costs to change formation. I'll have to check that out. Okay, I can't find in the rules where it is how much it is to change to formation. I think you just do it. So we check Devon, and he's a 12. Now he wants to go into column formation, and column formation for cavalry, they can only occupy 3 strength points per square. Therefore, 12 divided by 3 is 4 counters. So Devon is going to require 4 of these column counters to go into column. So, obeying the rules, we'll put the 4 column counters there in the same square, representing that's what the brigade has just gone to column. And he's got 8 activity points. And what he's going to do is start riding up the pike here. So we'll go, you don't have to follow consecutive hexes, by the way, in this game. As long as there's a road, you can do it. So I'll put him up beside Gamble. So he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and stop there. And these guys have to follow behind in column, like so. Then you put the brigade leader for Devon at the top, and lo and behold, you've got Devon with each counter representing 3 strength points. So that's what's involved to move a single brigade in Gettysburg advanced game. Now you can imagine what this will be like when the armies are concentrated and you're moving 52 brigades and 37 brigades. But let's just do another movement turn, and we'll see what can happen. And for the record, that would represent 20 minutes of time, so you advance this to 20. So it's 7:20, and the Confederates will move on the Chambersburg Pike. Okay, once again, if I'm doing this correct, the infantry will have a maximum of 6 activity points, and they do so because Heath is the commander. He's picked as the primary commander, and he's a reinforcement anyway. So the Union infantry will have 6 activity points, which means they can move 6 hexes up that road, and I'll do so. Okay, we want to get Pettigrew's brigade on next, and we check his size, and he's a big brigade, 29. So 29 divided by 8, at least 3, so we're going to need 4 markers. I'll have to get some column markers. Infantry, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll move Pettigrew up the road, 6 squares. Okay, so go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we put a column marker under him, showing you that there's 8 strength points there, another 8 there, 16, another 8 there, it's 24, and what was he? He was a 29. So we have to put another column marker there, but we have to put a 5 marker under there to show that there's 5 strength points underneath that particular brigade, or the rear end of the brigade, I should say. And what the heck, I might as well have the advance of Brockenborough's brigade. He's an 11, so he'd need an 8. Well, he doesn't need an 8 counter. He just needs a 3 counter. Again, you're supposed to pick a column of a different color, so you've got to go through your counters there, pick one of a different color. That's different enough, I suppose. Dark brown. And then you have to take another column marker. You have to put a 3 under that to show you that there's 3 strength points in that part of the brigade. And I'll bring on McGraw's battery here. Again, I'm not sure if that's legal stacking or not. So that's the 7:20 turn for the Confederate. You can see that there's an awful lot of procedures to move even a single brigade. And wait till you get to combat. Anyway, let's go back to the Union turn now and do their 7:20 turn. We have Gamble's brigade in line, and we have Devon's brigade in column. Let's see what they can do. Okay, remember that Buford is the primary commander, so they will have maximum activity points, which for cavalry in battle line is 6. But Devon will have 8 because he's in column. But let's start with Gamble. He's got 6. Now checking moving off a road, it costs infantry and cavalry 1.5 activity cost. So let's move gambol cautiously forward. Now remember that Buford, or rather I should say gambol, represented 16 strength points, and we had them all on the same square. So we have to break them up into 2 8s, which is convenient. We just take 2 battle line markers. So he'll go forward 1.5, and he takes the other battle line marker with him, 1.5. The leader must accompany one of the brigade markers. Put it underneath. Okay, so he's got 6 activity points. Okay, so he's burnt 1.5 there. He'll burn another 1.5 for 3. The other marker must follow him, so that's 3. He'll burn another 1.5, so 4.5. Okay, and he could go 1 square more, which he will. He'll spend his last movement points, and there we have Gambol's brigade in line on this ridge. That's not a bad formation to meet the advance of the Confederates there under Archer. So we've got a very realistic game in the sense that you have to go from column to line. In many ways it reminds me of the Brigade series by the Gamers. They used a similar system. Okay, we've got Devon there at the back in column. He's got 8 activity points. So, not sure what to do here, but I guess I could start getting them in a line. Let me see what that entails. Now I found out I'm missing information. It was on the chart here. Change from rest actually costs you 2. So Devon would be actually 2 X's further behind than normal, because it cost him 2 to change from rest. So he's actually kind of back here. And there is something there for changing to battle line, and that's going to be expensive. Because it says here, see, column to battle line, 6 activity points. So that'll be expensive for Devon to change into line. So you really have to be aware of the formation you're in this game. Very historically accurate. So what I'm going to do is just move Devon up the pike and go up like this so he can later prepare to go into battle line. So Devon is still behind Gambol in column. Now we've still got Buford back here. He's the division commander. You want to keep him kind of within 4 of the brigade, so I'll leave him back here at the seminary. And we've still got Tidball's battery here, or Caliph's battery of Tidball. Artillery, to change limbered to unlimbered, 1 or 0. So it's not very expensive for them to change. Well, I'll move Tidball up. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. So we're now going to have an unlimbered Caliph's battery with Gamble's brigade. So that's the turn for the Union. Now you can see there's a lot involved for a single turn. All right, so now we're going to do the 740 turn, and it should get interesting now because we've got more units on the board. They're very close to each other, and they're almost within battle range. Let's see what the Confederates will do for 740. Okay, I think this is one of the moves where the game does shine. It really shows you the complexity of moving troops from column to battle line. Now for infantry, it costs 6, and they only have 6 their activity level. So I could put all of Archer's brigade in line, but they're not facing the right way. They'd all be along the pike here, which is not very favorable. So you've really got to think about how you deploy your troops. So what I'm going to do is this. Planning ahead, I'll move Archer down this road here, Hers Ridge, and so for next turn he can deploy into line, and he'll be in the proper orientation towards the Union. So I'll go with Archer's brigade. He'll go up the pike here, 1, 2, 3, or this road rather. He might as well just go. He'll go 3 hexes. A lot of unstacking and stacking here, and actually he'll just go 2. And then the rear end of his column will be here, which is 4. Put the brigade leader there. So remember, there's 8 strength points there and 4 there. That battery was where? It was back here. Okay, now Pegram will just go up there and unlimber because he's got a nice defensive position there. He's on a nice ridge. And this battery will come up and unlimber too, stacking them up. And Heath will just go here. Now Davis's brigade is in a similar predicament to Archer. Why? Because he's in column along the Chambersburg pike, and he's got an enemy force 90 degrees to the pike already in battle line. So he's going to do kind of the same thing. He'll peel off to the left here in column and then later deploy in battle line. So Davis, he's occupying 3 squares. So he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the head of his brigade will be there. The middle will be there. And the end will be there. Because remember, he's consists of, 3 squares of 8 each. And these batteries will come up and join. I think they'll unlimber there. They'll unlimber there. And you can see there's a lot of information on these counters too. This represents the number of Napoleon cannon, the number of howitzers, and then rifles. Like I said, these are individual batteries, so you've got a heck of a simulation here. Now Pettigrew is a larger brigade. Now he's at the rear of the column, but I think he's going to want to think about getting in battle line too. So what he might do is go, he's occupying 4 squares, so he's got 6. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's got a problem. Well, scratch that. He'll just get closer to the front in column. Now, I'm playing a bit of a dangerous game here. Why? Because the Confederates are all in column. That's not a very nice position to be in, but I think they're going to take the risk. I don't think Gamble's going to want to go into an all-fired battle line rush against these deploying Confederates. There is some Confederate artillery here, which wouldn't be very nice to face. So that's the end of the 740 turn for Confederate. We'll now do the 8 o'clock turn. Now, I'm not going to bring any more units onto the field. I can demonstrate what I want to demonstrate with these units alone. But keep note, as more units come on the field, you're going to need more and more of these battle line markers. You're going to need more and more of those number markers. And the number of markers on the field will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. But let's take a look at the 8 o'clock turn. Okay, for the 8 o'clock turn, the Union are in pretty good position. Buford is still the commander, so I can give them full activity points. Gamble is quite content. He's in line, he's got a battery with him, he's on high ground, he's doing his job. So, it's only Devon we have to worry about. He's in column, and to go from column to battle line costs 6, and he's only got 8. And to move off-road costs cavalry 1.5. Yikes. So he'll only be able to go just 1 square and then deploy. Well, that's what he'll do. I don't like the battle line, but that's what he's going to do. So I'll temporarily put this brigade counter there. I'll move the column there. That's 1.5. Actually, he won't be able to do that, will he? No, it's too expensive. Because 1.5, well, plus 6, 7.5. He actually could do it. Yeah, he'll do that. 1.5 to go there, then he'll convert to battle line. So we'll take a battle line marker, and he'll face that way. Now this brigade will go into that square, 1, and then change to battle line. Now here, you're going to have to fish around for some curved battle line markers, like so. And then this brigade will come up and go into battle line, like so. And this brigade will do the same. So they're all connected. And we put the brigade leader where you want, actually. But I'll put him in the center of the line here. And Buford's still back here. So that's the Union turn. A little bit of disruption there. We've got a good line with Gamble and a curving line with Devon. So this game is very good for simulating the logistics in getting a battle line going. So let's go over to the Confederates and see what they're doing. Well, we already know that to change from column to battle line costs 6. The Confederates only have 6 activity points, so it's going to cost all their movement for all these columned units to go into battle line, and that's what they're going to do. They'll be in battle line facing the Union. Take that counter off, switch it to a battle line. Notice it's got the little battle line with the flag in front. There we have Davis's brigade fully deployed. He switches to battle line. So does he. And now we've got 2 full brigades deployed in battle line, half a division. Pettigrew will start moving up here. Off-road is what? 1.5, I think it was. Off-road 1.5, yeah. So he'll go 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. That's far enough, I think, for him. All these units. And then next turn, he'll be able to go into battle line. You can see how good this game is for simulating column to battle line and vice versa. Very few games have shown that, although the Gamers series was quite good at that too. And Brockenborough, he'll waltz up here on the road and go 1, 2, 3, then 4.5, 5, like this. And he still will be in column, but he'll be setting himself up for going into battle line next turn. Now, in all this, can we get some firing in? Well, sure. Let's try some long-range fire for a change. And I'll look up the rules on that, and we'll see how that happens. Okay, here's where you need a good set of eyes, because the numbers on these counters are mighty small. Now, I'll show you a count here from the front. The first number represents the number of Napoleon cannon. The second represents the number of rifled cannon. The third represents the number of howitzers. So when you're firing at a common square, you add up all the same guns of the same type. So let's say I want to have all the Napoleons of all these batteries fire at Gamble's right flank. Let's see what's involved. So we've got 2 plus 4 is 6. Boy, you need tweezers for this game. 6, 8. Okay, we've got 10 Napoleons firing at a common range of 4. So, we'll look at our tables. Let's see if I get this right now. Okay, so we've got 10 cannons firing, and it's a range of 4. So I see a number here, 4. Now I believe that means that's the number of hits. There's no die roll involved. But let me just check. Okay, I got it right. I had to make sure because it's critical. Anyway, there was the 10 Napoleon cannons sliding over to the range, which inflicts 4 casualty points. Not casualties, casualty points. Which means you're going to have to go to your brigade sheets over there and mark down on here. Well, actually, no, it'll be Gamble, right? And Gamble is originally 16. You'd have to mark down here 4 casualty points, because 10 casualty points equals 1 casualty. So every 10 of these, Gamble would go down 1 strength point. So you can see just how gradual the disintegration level will be in this game. 10 to 1. So that's just those Napoleon batteries firing in 20 minutes. Very accurate, very realistic, but holy cow, the record keeping is just going to be horrendous in this game. Now, after you get 10 casualty points, you would then have to take a number marker and put it underneath one of these brigades to show that it is no longer 8 strength points, but 7. So, I think you can see what I mean if you had 52 brigades on the board with all different casualty markers and stuff. It can be horrendous. And I'm not even talking about disintegration points, which is an entirely different thing. This game is one complicated game, and I've only just scratched the surface on it. I'm going to end the video now. There's not, I mean, you could do hours of video on this game. There's just so much. And there's stuff that I haven't even mentioned. The disorganization chart, the entry penalty table, the experience level. This game is a study on the Battle of Gettysburg. There's no question about that. There's just a lot to it. But I broke it out because I was curious about it, and nobody had done a video on the advanced game of Gettysburg, and I thought it deserved one. So I'm sorry this video is not all that perhaps you wanted it to be. It's just too complicated a game to really video, and I can see why nobody's really taken on the project. This game, by the way, certainly did make a hit or splash in the hobby. You can find copies of Gettysburg 77 on eBay now for $10, $15. It's readily available. It's not a game that really had any impact on the hobby. I think they made a mistake when they tried to do too much in one box. And for my money, the intermediate game is the one to play. But that's it for Gettysburg 77, the advanced game. A game that tried very hard to be the definitive Gettysburg game, and I think failed. I think by trying to put 3 games in one box, they kind of failed at all 3. The one that's salvageable, I believe, is the intermediate game. But just take a look at that with only, 6 brigades on. And I've only just begun to put game markers on. I do love, there are things I like about this game too. I do like the whole idea of having to form battle lines and go from column to battle line. You have to make them. I love the way you can bend back the battle lines. But what this game needs is really, or what it needed, was a larger map, larger fonts for the counters. These are extremely small. And I can see why this game is just not talked about today. It's rather forgotten. And I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. I thought it would be just fun to break out this old game and take another look. Anyway, thank you for watching.